How are you? So excited to have you.
So good. So good. We're excited to have you. So, we do have a lot of fun questions for you tonight. But first of all, we want to dive into what was life like before it works, and what was life like the first few months, and then what have you done? And I know you have some fun, exciting news on what you're doing right now, but we want to find out who you were before and what, like, the first few months, what were the trial and errors? Some of the limiting beliefs that you had to get over yourself. So I'm
So
excited
yeah,
to hear
this is
from you.
this is a good question. Well, number one, I think life for me was what I feel like and think like is normal for majority of us. Okay. Meaning I had a job. My husband had a job, and on the holidays or times where we wanted extra money, we both would pick up 2 or 3 other jobs. And we would try and also juggle a 1-year-old and almost a 4-year-old. And so our hands were full. Okay. And then you add in my depression and how depressed I was and postpartum and from the 2 kids. And so I was struggling. I was struggling emotionally. I was struggling financially. The only thing that was kind of the structure for me was my husband. He just kept me afloat. And then when I found this, I kept praying and praying and praying, for something. Josh and I had done summer sales, door-to-door sales, Vivint Solar, and security systems. And we did that for a few years, and it was good. It wasn't great. But we were incentivized in April to come back out and do another summer. And I remember thinking, I don't want to go back out again. I do not want to have a mortgage and go pay rent for you to go do summer sales. As my kids get older, I wanted structure. I wanted to be with them. I want them to, be in sports and us have a community and not be moving every 3 months and living in an apartment, paying for a mortgage, having so many other things. And so when I kept praying and praying, and at the time I didn't know it was praying. Like I didn't really have a faith. I had lost that as far as a belief. And so I remember it was April when I found it on social media, and I watched until August, which was right when we were supposed to be going out to summer sales. And I just remember saying, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want to go. And so I got started in August. I tried the body wrap. Okay. Now, mind you, in August, the day I tried our body wrap, our bank account was negative $500 or more. At least $500 is what I remember. And that was normal for us every single month. We were in the negative a few $100s, or we were like, oh, I have none until I get paid on Friday or until I do a couple hair appointments and maybe get some tips or something like that. And it was always more month than there was money. And that's frustrating. And it'll also take a toll on your depression, on your financial decisions, on your relationship, on the way that you are as a mom or a dad. Like, it's very, very, very important that we understand that financial freedom isn't always about money. It's about choices. And so when I got started, I remember the wrap. I tried a wrap from a stranger that I found on Facebook. I went to her house, and I remember watching her swipe on her iPad. And I was like, oh my gosh, she has an iPad. Like, she's balling. I can't do this because she has all the, like this thing. I had a flip phone and a camera. This was just 9 years ago. Okay. Like, let me just remind you guys, this wasn't 1990. This was just 9 years ago. And I tried the wrap and I loved it. My results were amazing in 45 minutes. And I was skeptical. And I remember her saying it's $99 and you can just order when you want, but you also have the option to make money if you want. And I was like, sweet. All right, cool. Right. Because I needed money, but I also knew that I didn't have money. I didn't have the $99. And that was the struggle, right? Sorry, my dog is driving me crazy. It's old man. And so I got started, and I said, yeah, I'm just going to go home and like talk to my husband. I didn't want to tell her I didn't have any money. Like, we are negative $500. My credit cards are maxed because that was normal. And I was like, I don't have money. I don't have $99. And in that moment, I knew that was the problem. We work and we work and we work and we still don't have $100. Like, what's the real scam in life? Okay. That we're working and we're working and we're working, and yet we have no time to enjoy $99 or a night away. Right. And so the whole way home, I was sick. I was like, I know this is happening for a reason, but I don't know why. And I swore I would never do network marketing. Okay. I live in Utah. It's the capital of MLM. The majority of MLMs are based out of here. And so I was approached and bitter, and my mouth was tasting nasty about them. And my husband also worked for a network marketing company, corporate side. And so I saw how he was treated, and I was like, absolutely not. No, I have no desire, none. No, thank you. Not for me. I'm a stylist, and I'm not letting anyone know that we're broke. And so I went home and I said, babe, I need to get more of that product that I just tried, and I can get 4 of them for $99. And he was like, I want to tell you, yes, we don't have $99. I was like, I know. And that's the problem. And I said, let me do a couple hair appointments and get the $99, and then can I buy them? And he was like, absolutely, go for it. And I had to wait a few days. I did a couple haircuts and got the $99. I put it on my credit card so that way I could use it. Remember, if I put it in my bank account, it's gone and I can't use it. So that's where we were financially when I started. And so I put it on my credit card, maxed out my credit card again, and got started in the business. And I knew in that moment, these 4 body wraps, I need to sell and make that $99 back. So that was my first goal. I wanted money back to where I was a clean slate. I actually sold those body wraps for $35 a piece because I needed extra money. You can do whatever you want. You can sell them for $65. Did you actually know that those body wraps were sold for $300 a piece years ago in a spa? Yeah, crazy, right? So I was like, oh, $35. And you tell people that, they're like, oh, hell yeah, $35, I'm in. Like, for sure, I'm getting a screaming deal. And so I sold those body wraps. And then I just posted my own results. I was so fired up. I was so excited about a product. I was so excited to get my stretch marks diminished and shrunk. And I knew that I had a product to share with the world. And so I went nuts with my 180 friends on Facebook, right? Because I did not have a market, and my family sure as heck weren't going to be the ones supporting me first. I'm the baby. So, and I'm the one that didn't go to college. I'm the one that was a little bit of a rebel. I'm a black sheep of the family. And so I looked to acquaintances, not my friends. My high school friends were making fun of me. And I just said, I'm so fired up about this product. I just put it on my stomach for 45 minutes and my stretch marks have shrunk. What in the world? Like, you guys need to know about this. And it blew up. And I had my own results. One time, 45 minutes. That's all it took. Okay. And then I started to share that excitement. Okay. I said, I've got more in. Who wants some? These are so lit. They're so exciting. Tiffany just tried it. Her results are crazy. She just, like, I have before and after pictures, because pictures don't lie. And this was before editing, really good editing. Okay. Like, this was when people couldn't even question if it was edited or not. And people would still question. Like, I'm like, no, dude, this is from my SD card on my camera. Like, I don't even have an editing app, right? Like, there's no beauty mode on this. And so, but people still were skeptical. They still questioned it. And that product, you guys, and this is why you being a product of the product is number one, crucial, has to happen. You get excited about your results, you're going to be more excited to share it with other people. You getting excited about $25 cash, and every time I sold one, another 25 bucks made. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Never tag your people, because that's embarrassing. Nobody wants to have your shit on blast that you're like, oh yeah, I'm fat and I need help. Like, nobody wants that. So don't tag your people. But just saying their first name, or saying, oh my gosh, I just sold another body wrap. These things are flying off the shelf. I literally can't keep up with them. I'm taking pre-orders. So I would like get people asking, and being excited about the body wrap. And I want you guys to know, we didn't have what we have today. We had fat fighters, body wrap, defining gel, stretch mark cream, and facial wraps. Greens that were disgusting. They were orange flavor and they were horrid. So I never even brought greens to like people because they were so nasty. Like didn't even mention them. No, they were so gross. So those couple of products was what took me ambassador. We still have those today. In fact, they're better today. And so what you are sitting on is so unfortunate that we're not taking this and taking ourselves seriously, using a body wrap, getting the defining gel every day, getting those before and after pictures every single day, track those results. I made an album and I was dead serious about it, because if you put it out there and people are watching you, they're waiting for you to fail, waiting for you to fail. And so that's what took me Ruby in 45 days. And then I got that paycheck and I wanted to quit. I was so mad that it was $380. And I was like, this isn't even exciting to me. I have spent 45 days straight sharing these products. Social media wasn't a thing. We didn't have lives. We couldn't sit here and do what I call cop out. Okay. I'm working all day. Really? Or are you scrolling all day? Or are you wasting all day? Huh? Yeah. Right. So I had to get out and go. I worked all day in the salon. I had 2 kids at my feet. My husband got off at 5. We'd swap cars. He'd take the kids home. And I went and drove sometimes 3 hours to go put a wrap on one person. One person, you guys. I was willing to do what no one else was willing to do so I could live like no one else is willing to live. And I knew that. Was it happening right now? No. My car insurance wasn't available. My car definitely was expired on registration. I was only able to put $5 in my gas tank. Okay. That was my life. But I wanted to remember that so I knew what I was fighting for. And everyone around me was in the same position. So I had to change my circle, change my vision, right? I had to get serious for me. And then I found out that there's 16 presidentials in the next city over from me. And I was like, I'll never make it. I'll never make it. They're too far ahead of me. They've already tapped this market. There's too many people doing it. Guess who's still in the business and they're not? Right? So stay in your lane. Understand that there is 17,100 million people every single day that turn 18. So you always have a new market coming in. And when I went Ruby, got that check, made a phone call, and I said, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. It was not worth 45 days of my time. And I will never forget when Jillian, it wasn't my sponsor. My sponsor didn't really do it. It was a girl that I connected with. We both went Ruby together. We both were pushing for Emerald together. And she said, Amber, do you understand that if you do what you did for 45 days straight, now, do you guys understand that 20 days for people is hard to stay consistent? You stay consistent for 1 year and watch your life change. And I mean consistent. I don't mean consistent like, I'm drinking my water today and tomorrow I'll drink nothing. Okay. Or I'm going to over drink water today and compensate for the rest of the 6 days. No, it is consistent every single day. And I had to work hard on that because that wasn't something that came naturally to me. Okay. I knew grit, I knew work, but I didn't know this business and I didn't have a sponsor and upline. So I had to choose to jump into my training every single night. I had to choose to log into my eSuite morning and night and play around and learn a new language and print off charts and be like, what the heck does this mean? What's BV? What's this? I didn't have team pages, guys. We didn't have Zooms. And I truly think that sometimes we rely on that and we are like, I'll hop on a Zoom and learn. I'll go do this and learn. I'll wait for somebody to tell me and then I'll know. And then I'm going to keep collecting information. Well, what happened if social media, Zooms, and everything else that's virtual goes away and we're back in the real world? Will your business thrive? Right? And yes, times are changing, but you have to be the coach. You get to be the mentor. I started doing trainings at Ruby. I didn't know half the crap I was talking about. And I was like, I don't know, I'm going to go learn it. And that would give me homework. I was excited to be a CEO of my business. Okay. I knew that I had a $10,000 bonus on the line. No one I knew had done that personally. And so I had to go and learn how to chart, study the eSuite, misplace, be like, shoot, that didn't go where I wanted it to. Wait, you're telling me I can build my whole diamond chart out? Wait, you're telling me that I can do this and I don't need somebody else to do it for me? And so I was excited. I was passionate. I was responding to people. I was coming up with scripts that I didn't even know if they were right or wrong or if they were going to work or not work. I was willing to fail every single day. And so then I skipped Emerald, went Diamond the 15th of the month. That was the date that I signed up because I thought Again, no upline to say, hey, you have a full month. I thought it was from the date that I started that I had those 3 months, right? So the 15th of the month, I had learned the month before, okay, I need 10,000 BV before the 15th. I don't get to wait till the 25th and then work 5 hard days. I didn't know that that was like even an option. And I'm going to challenge you guys to work your months in 15 days. The first 15 days. Your steps to success, the first 15 days. And ever since then, people were like, what do you mean you already went? It says paid as diamond on November 15th? In the winter? In the slow months? Well, yeah, that's all I knew. I didn't know that there were slow months. So it's awesome that you can stay in your lane and not worry, or somebody else say, yeah, it's okay. It took me 27 years before I went executive. Don't make that be your story, right? Don't have and accept that this is just the way that it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. So then I went diamond November 15th, and I got that paycheck in December. We were so far behind in bills. I was still broke. My parents paid for my kids' Christmas that year. Me and Josh bought each other socks. That's all we could afford. And I vowed in that moment, never, ever, ever again will I allow my parents to buy my kids Christmas. In fact, since then, we've been able to every single year buy someone else's Christmas, help them afford Christmas. So that was in my list of never will I ever go back to. And that's something I want to shift, is instead of dreaming, which we need to do, but we also need the backside of the never will I ever go back to a job. Never will I ever go back to a negative bank account. Never will I ever go back to Wiccan food stamps, okay? Or shopping at midnight because I was embarrassed of Wiccan. Never, ever, ever will I go back there. But that also means I got to grow into where I am going, grow into those dreams. And so January, I went to conference. My downline actually bought my plane ticket because I couldn't afford it. And so she said, we're all going, you can't not go. And I was like, I literally can't afford it. And she said, pay it forward. And I was able to accept a gift from a friend. And by the time conference came, I was able to buy someone else's plane ticket. Like, what a blessing. But what if I said, no, I'm okay. I'm not going to let you give. I'm going to be a taker and take away an opportunity for somebody to give to me. That event changed my life. That event is where I found Jesus. That event is where I casted the vision to retire my husband and bring him home. Now, not every husband should be home. Let me just preface that. And for a little bit, maybe not a long bit. Okay. So I had that vision, and then I went from conference in January, February, March, diamond to triple. Diamond to triple. About $1,100, $17,000 in 1 month. That 1 month wasn't when it happened. It happened in that first 45 days of being consistent. I just didn't get paid for that until 8 months in, right? And I got a back paycheck. And so we're used to employee mindset where I clock in, I clock out, I get paid. I clock in, I clock out, I get paid. You want a vacation, you take time off. You go on vacation, you don't get paid. That's what we're used to. We're used to somebody telling us when to show up. We're used to being, a written warning, verbal warning, then you're fired. That's what we're used to. Well, how come we can show up for other people, their business, but we can't even show up for our own? Okay. And so I knew that something needed to change. And so we brought Josh home in June of that year, and about 8 months in, and we've been a full-time family ever since. My son, again, is turning 9 in April. He's only ever remembered mom and dad both home. Like, what a blessing, right? And I think like Josh calculated the hours one time of how much time he would have missed with his kids had he been working a full-time job or two. And it was thousands and thousands of hours away from your kids. And again, it's not to say that that's the freedom is being home. Not every guy wants to be a stay-at-home dad. Not every woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom. Amen. Amen. Okay. So the freedom is to choose. The freedom is what we want. And can we choose to go work because we want to work because it brings us joy? Can I choose to do hair because that's what I like to do? Yes. But it's also having the ability to say, you know what? I want to take a week off and I want to get paid. And so ever since then, A year later, we went, it took me a year. I stayed at Triple for a year, presidential, and then ambassador. So 2.5 years we're ambassador diamonds. I remember being Triple and nobody even knew who I was. And they're like, where did you come from? I'm like, Spanish Fork. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing still. Like, all I knew is that I had a product and I was excited about it. And more importantly, I was excited for my own results. I knew that if I didn't take myself seriously, nobody else would either. So that meant I had to take myself more serious than what other people were taking me. And so that's a little bit about what life was like around then and during the first, 2 years or so. But I still worked a full-time job even up until actually last year. I was still doing hair. I was still doing eyelashes, and just because I loved to. And then I got in a car accident and I lost feeling in my hands. So again, you don't know what's going to happen. You might have a solid job right now, and literally tomorrow something could happen and your whole life is flipped upside down. And thank God I had this business, because during that hard time when I couldn't work and do eyelashes, and I was in therapy, and I was still able to bring in an income, And so God knew. I didn't at the time. So you don't know what's going to happen to your kids or you. Work this business like it's a career. That's it. That's a lot of it. Woo!
Mind blown on so much. There's so much that I didn't even know, and I thought I knew a majority of it, but dang, girl, holy moly. There was a statistic out in the news that 1 million moms and dads chose to quit their job to homeschool their kids. 1 million. So when we look at our company, we look at a business, and we think, oh, well, maybe nobody can afford it. Maybe nobody will, is willing to try it. Maybe nobody's interested. You guys, there's people out there that are at home homeschooling kids with no income coming in. What do you think they're doing, right? Like, we have to be the one that chooses to put our, beliefs or our thoughts on whatever the situation is aside and just ask. So what is a self-development book that really changed your leadership in your business?
Well, when I started, I knew that I started a business, and I had never started a business before. So the first thing that I did is I would save $5 from those. Sounds so crazy, you guys, but I want to paint you the most humbling, true story of where I was. And again, this was like before Audible, before podcasts, right? And those things are great, and they're, podcasts are free, but I knew that I was going to be a leader. I'm a CEO now. Okay. So I had to go study, what do CEOs do? What do leaders do? Right? How to be a friend? How do I show up on time? How do I be consistent and motivated when I don't freaking feel like it? Okay. So I took $5 from every rep that I would sell, and I went to Barnes and Noble, and they have a whole CD section. Oh, I can't even, like, I'm totally aging myself right now. Some people are like, what's a CD? Or a tape, right? And so they had CDs, and I remember picking up Zig Ziglar. Okay. Zig Ziglar. I'll drop it in the chat. Zig Ziglar. The late Zig Ziglar. Amazing. And then the other one that I learned from was Og Mandino. Okay. So those were two of my very first mentors. And I got CDs, a CD, one of them. And I also looked for one that was the biggest, the longest. Like, it's my $5. Like, what has 6 hours versus 45 minutes? And so I found two leaders. And so I picked up the CD, and then I would go make rap cash, and I'd go back to it was like my treat, right? Like, most of us go to Starbucks for a treat. I went to Barnes and Noble. I was hungry for something new. I was hungry for success. And remember, I didn't have a mentor or a leader. So I had to go fail forward and figure it out. If I start a boutique, what am I going to do? Today, probably watch YouTubes on how to start a boutique. So you got to learn the industry. You got to learn what we're doing, and nobody can give you that information. Like, I don't get to say, hey, Amanda, can you go to college for me and then I'll graduate? No, it doesn't work like that, right? So we don't get to start a business and then say, hey, can you just like go do all the work and like give me all my customers and then like I just get paid? That'd be really nice. It'll never last like that. So I went and got CDs. on leadership. Those are two that I would highly recommend, because what is today leadership is definitely different than the history of leadership. And I feel like sometimes today's leadership is very egotistical. It's very much how cool I am. And these are two great mentors. Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. Oh my gosh. So they're just amazing. Anything by them is so great. So that's where I started. And then I grew from there. I went into John Maxwell, one of the greatest in history leaders. And then I would find the next book. And you'll understand that if you start learning, right? Like I learned Zig, and then I learned Og. And then I learned from Og, John Maxwell. And then from John Maxwell, I found other leaders that I could tune into. And so if you listen to books and Audible or read or study, for me, I had to listen because I didn't have the time to sit down and read. You might be like, I actually can't listen because I can't hear and I can't focus. Yeah, you can. Your brain will pick up everything that it needs to hear. How can we be cooking dinner and be on a conversation, and then I know that my kid is getting into something and you're like, right? How come you can multitask there, but you can't multitask into your own self-development? BS. I'm calling BS. Yes, you can. Your brain will hear what it needs to hear. You might not be able to sit there and take notes, but those of you who are like, oh, I have to sit down and read and take notes, you are what we call an accumulator. You accumulate information and you do not execute information, okay? Which doesn't work long-term. It's great, do it, but it's not great when we don't execute, okay? So I knew I had to listen. I'd rather get 10% than no percent. And I knew I wasn't finding the time to sit down and actually read a book. And so again, I'd rather get 10% than no percent. But when you listen, you also will hear references. Almost every single book I've read, I found a new book that's relatable to it in some way. And then I just keep rotating through what's next. Do I like this category? Systems, sales, marketing, money, friends, attitude, daily habits. I mean, there's so many things that you can study. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to learn how to talk nice. I have to learn how to wash my face. I have to learn how to like show up. Okay. I had to learn that. That's not something that they teach in school. And then I had to learn systems and using freaking Word. Like, what? I have to use an Excel sheet for what? I don't even understand this. I had to go to school from my phone. Okay. Mind you, I didn't have a computer till I was triple, all from my phone. Okay. And I was excited and hungry. So those are two amazing books on leadership, but sometimes it's not leadership book that you need. Sometimes it's faith. Sometimes it's marriage. Sometimes it's mom books, right? You have to decide what's holding you back. Think about these categories in system, sales, marketing, closing. I had to learn words matter when you're talking to people. Like, you go to school for sales. I did too. I just never stepped foot in a college. Okay. I got my degree right here. And it's the best dang degree because no one can take it from me. Okay. When you go and study, no one can take that from you. Right. So those are two of the ones. And then I had to get into like confidence. I lacked confidence for a long time. Sometimes I still do today. And so I had to learn how. I Googled best books on confidence, best books on money mindset. Like, there's so many different things that are right at our fingertips, you guys. It is 2021. If you think that you need to pay money to even learn, you're dead wrong. There's so much free crap out there on Google, Siri, DuckDuckGo, podcasts, you name it. You could probably learn how to be a lawyer and be better than half the people that went to law school. Okay? From your Audible, from our this device. Like, this device may have been expensive for you, but it's more expensive that you're not using it for a matter that's going to teach you long term. So, You're a Badass took me diamond. I had to listen to it every single day because I needed that confidence. Like, I can freaking do this. I can do this. I can do this. When my best friends are making memes about me and posting them on social media, I can do this. I can do this. Like, they're not going to bring me down. It's fine. Right. And so you're going to find that grit of what lights you up. And for me, it was songs. A lot of times it was music. Right. And so just keep studying, but this business takes 1 hour a day, 1 hour The other 8, if you're going to work this full time because you're expecting a full time pay, so that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I had to remember I need to go to school for 6 hours. I need to grow into that ambassador income. Right now, how do you manage money? How many of you have been broke your whole life? You've never had a savings account. Your parents never had a savings account. Your parents always told you money doesn't grow on trees. So you're like, I don't have money. I'm never going to amount to anything. I don't have a degree. Yeah, me too. And unless I wanted to change, mommy ain't going to give that to me. Okay. Mommy already gave me the mindset that you will never make it. So don't hang on to that. Go find a different mind. You can change this, everything in this, in 21 days flat. Just like that. Like that. You got to be hungry. You got to be willing to go do the work. You got to be willing to say, no more Netflix, no more movies. I got to earn a movie. If I don't study and finish a book in the week, I don't watch a movie on Friday. And your boss ain't going to tell you that. Okay. You are your boss. And so I had to learn those things. I had to study hours of studying. I had to learn how to use a back office. What the heck's a back office? What's an e-suite? How do you move somebody? What's a product reward? I didn't have anyone to say, hey, how do I use my product credit? Mark wasn't going to pick up the phone and call me. I had to go figure it out. Figure it out. Okay. And the more, again, that you learn and then you teach, you're going to remember. So that's where it kind of began as far as leadership goes.
So this is going to tie into your last statement there. How or what are your favorite ways on showing layered leadership? Because I know necessarily we can't motivate or we can't necessarily teach it. I mean, we can teach it until we're blue in the face, but unless they apply it, right, we're just wasting our time. So what is your best strategy that you have found that has worked on that layered leadership, continuing to keep the ball rolling, per se? Does that make sense?
Yep. So leaders are built, they're not born. And leaders build by you leading. So a lot of times I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be like, hey, Kayla, oh my gosh, this book is so good. You need it. And you're like, she freaking needs it more than she knows. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. That's not what she needs, right? What she feels she needs. So that's not how I create leaders within the layers. What I do is I grow, they go. I grow, they go. I grow, they go. Okay. So you growing inspires them to grow. And sometimes it doesn't. But what we don't want to do is I don't want to grow to here and then turn around and be like, hey guys, hey, does anyone want to come with me? Anybody want to be a leader? Anyone? They're all, no, I'm good. Good. No. That's managing. We don't want to raise employees. We want to raise CEOs. So once I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. I studied this money book and the money just came into my space. At that point, Kayla's like, hold up, wait a minute. I need money. Let me read that book. And so if you're only focused on one category, let's say it's faith, and Kayla's faith is strong. Well, that's not how you're going to create leadership about faith in her. And so as a leader, you get to study every single category and find what they need. And this is why it's so hard when people are like, what's your favorite book? Well, what was my favorite book when I went diamond? What was my favorite book when I went presidential? What was my favorite book when I was lacking in confidence and I couldn't get out of bed every single day? You know, it varies. You have to decide what do you as a student need? Why are you not yet a CEO? What are you missing? Where do you feel like is your weakness? Change that. And so as they saw me grow and be excited and share what I'm learning, share how I'm using leadership. I would always share, hey guys, I just drove 3 hours to rep somebody. And during that 3 hours, I listened to You Are a Badass. I listened to John Maxwell. This is what I learned. And so as you keep sharing your leadership growth with your market too, guys, people will go with somebody who knows where they're going. If you don't know where you're going, you think anyone's going to come with you? They're like, she's going to get me lost too. I don't want to be lost anymore in my life. Okay. Amen. Like you got to get crystal freaking clear on where you're going and then be loud about it. Don't be bashful about it. Be loud about it. Be excited that you're having income. If you aren't, and I was talking about how I was getting a $10,000 bonus before I even believed that I was going to get a $10,000 bonus. I was like, oh my gosh, my car payment is going to be paid in full every single month by the 6th. It's not going to be late anymore. That's what people can relate to. They cannot relate to an ambassador income. They cannot relate to even $1,000 income from their phone. They can't relate to that, you guys. Start talking about the small things. Even still to this day, we get to talk about the small things, about how I can go and enroll my son in a $120 karate class because I want to, because I can. Okay. And that's such a blessing. How many parents struggle, but they want their kids to live their best life. They want their kids to be in sports, but they can't pay for it. Or they're putting it on credit cards, or they're cutting out groceries so they can pay for gymnastics. Okay. Be loud about what your $5 that you made, your sample cash made, and what you want, and start talking about it before you have it. That's where people know where you're going. Okay. And more people will come with you. So you got to start today and be excited about it. Not like, hey, who's looking to grow their hair out? Hey, I need a couple more customers. Guys, and by the way, old Facebook was just words. It was rare we posted pictures. There was no lives. It wasn't a thing. I couldn't be excited on a live. I had to share with my words, with my actions, what I was fired up about. So grow, baby, grow.
So Chad did have a good question in the chat. He said, the sources we have today spoil us a lot, meaning, we have so many,
Yep.
but how are you using those sources to spoil and educate yourself?
This is a really good question. I try and be the first one who knows something. Okay. So use the resource to your advantage and teach someone else, right? So go into the e-suite and be like, hey, you guys, did you know that you have 72 hours to move people? Okay. Go into the e-suite and find a new tool. Hey, do you guys know that the daily task list is in the e-suite? It's right here. Share it with the team. And then when you get off Zooms like this, go share your takeaways. Go make people get what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. Make them miss out. Make them be like, this is what I learned, and make them never miss another one. Okay. But execute, execute, execute. When you get off a Zoom, go download the books and then set a goal to finish it. Go download, a new podcast and share what you learned from it. You are a leader today. A title doesn't make you a leader. I don't care if you're paid as a distributor or if you're an ambassador. Leaders are willing to fail. Leaders are also willing to be proactive and not be waited to get handed items or things. They're the ones that are giving the items and the things. And so even to this day, I'm constantly like, I love when people recommend books, but I want to be the first one who's read this one, who's had this takeaway, so I can share it with someone else. And so leaders are the first to eat. And there's a book that's called Leaders Eat Last. And it talks about how leaders are the first to arrive and the last to leave in everything they do. They're the first to arrive on Zooms and the last to leave on the Zooms. They're the first to arrive at a training and the last to leave at the trainings. They're not the ones that are late and leaving early. That's for damn sure. Okay. So check yourself in these situations. How do you show up? They're the first to be on the team page and the last to leave on the night at the team page. This doesn't mean exhaust yourself. This means be excited to show up, So, and share it. Give people, like if you were to have a conversation with Pam Souter, you think you'd keep that information to yourself? No. You'd be like, I'm going to share this. Okay. And so share what you're learning, share where you're going over and over and over again. Cast vision to yourself, cast vision to other people.
We hear Mike say that a lot, cast vision. Like, and Success Leaves Clues, we hear that one a million times too, and just follow and model somebody who's doing and where you want to go, and you keep modeling that behavior and you keep learning from them, you're going to keep growing. And I mean, like I've followed Amber for the last 4 minutes, for the last 4 years for like a hot 4 minute, right? So I know like Success Leaves Clues, and I know that she is growing her business on a really crazy busy schedule. And even in the mix of the last year and a half of traveling full time with the family and doing homeschool and picking up and traveling literally like every 4 or 5 days, like that's a
Yeah.
lot. And you are still doing corporate stuff and keeping up and doing the Zooms and doing all the things. But then you're also taking care of your own health,
Yeah.
right? And you said, and I know you don't need to go like deep into it, right? But I know
Yeah.
you said you had an accident,
Mhm.
a big car accident that really was a pivotal moment in your life on career wise and life wise. So, how did you get over some of your limiting beliefs that came along with that accident and the trauma that you had afterwards?
Well, I think, any accident or, trauma in our life will teach us something if we're willing to learn. And we can look and think like, oh, shiz, that was scary. Or we can think, wow, what a blessing. And everything, even in the hardest moments, whether it's divorce, you lose a dog, a child, a grandma, all of these moments, abuse, everything can teach us something if we're willing to learn. And I think the biggest lesson that taught me was one to slow down, to slow down. Life's too precious. And when you're in a car accident and you don't know if you're going to make it out, and you make that phone call to your husband and say, tell the kids I love them. Like, I don't know where I'm at or what's happening, but my car's filling up with smoke. I love you. That is a feeling. And it's crazy because I had read a book by Erwin McManus called The Last Arrow. And in that book, he talks about saving nothing for the next life. Nothing. Imagine you don't know when God's going to take you. You don't know when your day is going to be done. And I never want to go and meet him and say, was that okay? Was that a good life? Did I do all right for you? And him say, man, you could have done better. Could have done better. Could have lived a little more. Could have asked me for more abundance. That's your birthright. You could have done, a little bit more in the world that I provided, in the outdoors, in the mountains, in the sun, in the water that I give you so freely. You could have taken care of your brain a little bit. That was given to you for free. You could have taken care of your body a little bit better, but you didn't. And in that accident, I remember getting up and going to the hospital and being like, I'm hurt. This sucks. Now what? And again, I could have looked at all the negatives, that I didn't have health insurance, that and we still don't. And but again, knowing that it's going to be taken care of, and not being able to hold my phone up like this was a struggle. But knowing that I could still lay down for however many hours and I didn't have to touch my phone, and I could lay here and still work and still get an income and still have my kids cuddle me and still get paid. That happened. And so it made me so grateful for this business that I didn't have to call into work when I had 3 therapy appointments, 4 days a week, or I had to drive 45 minutes to go to the chiropractor and then get a massage to, hopefully rebuild my muscle and my ligaments. And all of these moments in time that it wouldn't have healed me had I had a normal job. And so, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I was willing, I needed a new teacher, truly. I needed to be a student again and be willing to learn. And so that taught me so much about what I wanted to do in life and how much time I wasted avoiding. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to walk outside. I don't want to do this. What I want to do is sit on my phone and scroll social media. What I want to do is tell my kids I'm working so they don't bug me. Okay. What I wanted to do was say, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Really? No, you're not. You're not productive. Okay. And so, and then going through that, I read the book again and I got a completely different message out of it. And I've read the book now 9 times, and I read it and I've listened to it 3. And every single time I have a new message and a new purpose and a new waking, aching desire to live every day like it's my last day and take care of the body I was given, take care of the brain that we were so blessed with, and share with others that there's so much more to life than what we're currently experiencing, so much more. And then that's when a year later, I was feeling okay, but I was hurting in the same sense that I couldn't do my career that I've wanted to do my entire life. I thought I was going to do hair till the day I was dead. I loved it, right? I loved making people feel better. I loved people sitting in my chair and then leaving and feeling a different way. Well, all I had to do was get a new pair of eyes to know that's what I get to do in this business. When somebody hops on a Zoom, my sole desire is that when they leave, they feel a little bit different, just a little, just a tiny bit, guys, just a little bit. Or when they sit in front of me at a coffee shop and I share the reds with them or the collagen, that they are excited about a blessing. So you just take what the career that you loved and you put it into this, whether it's, if you're a server, right? You can serve here. You're a teacher, you can teach here, So there's always something that you can learn and something that you can teach. And then that gave me the desire to travel the country. Like, I do not know when we always talk about, where we want to go and the places that are on our dream board that would be nice if it fell in our lap. How come we're not willing to go fight for it? Right? How come we're not willing to do what no one else is willing to do so we can have what no one else is willing to have? And again, I had to start talking about it. A year ago today, actually, we found the rig that we currently live in. But that started 4 months prior, just talking about it. I had no idea we were actually going to do it. But I was like, hey, would anyone ever live in a fifth wheel and like travel the country? And everyone was like, you're stupid. You'll never make it. You live in a 4,500 square foot house with a walk-in closet. You'll never make it, Miss Diva. And I was like, watch me. I'll show you. And I use it to light me up, not agree with them. And that's when we started traveling. Oh, you're going to put your house up at the beginning of a pandemic? You're an idiot. Oh, you think your business is going to last through a pandemic? Oh, you guys think you're going to travel the country? Watch me. Because God gave me the vision, not you. And until God tells me yes and no, I don't need to listen to anybody else. And that comes from studying faith. That comes from studying confidence. That comes from ignoring the people you would never trade places with. And unless you expect them, you would financially trade blessings with them, don't take advice from them. And so here we are, a year later, closed today on our second lot so we can build our second dream home. What if I hadn't, guys? What if I hadn't started dreaming? What if I hadn't started talking about it? You don't talk about it once you're there. You talk about it to get there. You hear me? You don't talk about it to be there, right? To believe it. The belief comes when you go through it. Y'all got me lit. Rah.
Well, I think this is the last question to wrap it up. And it basically just finished it off of where are you going? Like, where is your dream? What does the next year look like? What does the next 2 years look like for you? Which I'm excited for.
It's scary. It's so scary. Sometimes I wonder, I get these visions in this little voice, but oftentimes our head and our heart is so cluttered with the world and social media, which is a virtual world, by the way, guys. It's fake. It's not real. So let's just make that very clear. All right. We get so fired up about what other people are doing or think she's a single mom and she doesn't have it. I'm a single mom too. Let's be negative together. Oh, she doesn't, she lives in this place for 17 million 100 years and me too. It's okay. Let's be miserable together. It's the ones that are willing to say, I'm done being here. And it's okay that money doesn't make me evil. Having dreams doesn't make me selfish. Having these goals and desires doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me an important role that God put here on this earth for me to accomplish. And so in the next 2 years, we will be living in our dream home, hopefully by Christmas. And I will be on retreats for, again, taking breaks during the year. That's very important to me. Something else I learned a lot on the road was how much time I have that I'm not using. And we all have it. You know, everyone's like, I don't have any time. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You just avoid a lot more in that time. And my next goal is Black Diamond. It's not double ambassador because Black Diamond was here before double ambassador. And so, yes, I want to go double ambassador, but I also want Black Diamond. And I want to be a yellow Black Diamond, right? Like I want to do it in a way that is caring, that is loving, that also knows that I can have it all. And I don't have to sacrifice my kids and the time with them. I don't have to sacrifice date night to get there. I don't have to work 24/7 to do that. I know that when I'm obedient with my time, with my discipline, I can have it all. And so that is my goal and my intention. And then again, you go to the world and it's like, no, you can't. You got to work 27 hours a week. You got to do this. No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay. And so I get to make this a way that works for me. And then also giving back is going to increase, which is crazy because we give back a ton, but that fires me up. And then we'll have a couple other, you know, small businesses. I think something fun that I would always love to do is just have a little food truck, whether it's, you know, sweets or healthy foods or salads or drinks. I don't know, something like that. Like just, you know, something that gives me a passion, but also my kids are going to be working, right? Like they get to work and they get to know hard work. They're not going to be spoiled. You know, even now they were out selling rocks yesterday and they both made $20 and they're 9 and 13. And I'm like, what happened with the world, right? What happened to the generations where I worked full time when I was 14? Like, and some of these kids are turning 20 years old and they're like, I've never even had a job. Mom and dad paid for everything. Okay. Nothing wrong with that if that's how you want to be. But I want my kids to know what we do and how hard we work for the fruits and the labor that we have. So I'm sure we'll be traveling with my daughter. She's doing private gymnastics lessons and going to be competing. Cannon Boy's doing jujitsu and going to be competing. So we're going to be busy spending a lot of the next few years being really present parents and also running a very successful business. So those are kind of just some of the dreams that I have. What are some of the other things? Lots of events, personal development, growth. Vacation homes. We want to have some vacation homes. We also are going to buy a lake house. All of those things, again, you have to start talking about, and don't quit on the dream just because of the time that it takes to get there. This dream today was a 15-year-old dream. It took 15 years to get here. It wasn't 6 months. It wasn't always easy. A lot of times I never thought it would happen, but you have to trust that the steps that you take forward, and when you start asking, the only answer is yes. It's never no. It's only ever yes, 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 and yes again. But we just aren't asking. That's the only reason why you don't have something, is you haven't simply asked. It's crazy. But those are some of my goals.
You're getting me even more fired up. Like just light bulbs are going off all over the place. And you're so true. Like it's so freaking true. You don't know until you ask. Like just go ask. And 3 years ago, did I hope to be on a Zoom with Amber Parker? Of course. Did I try everything that I could to get on any corporate Zoom that I could? Back then, there was hardly any.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't invited, you bet I tried. Like yeah, exactly. Good luck. Exactly. And it wasn't until like maybe a year ago, right, that Zooms were really starting to pick up in even more teams. And I'm like, this is what really gets me fired up, is learning and hearing other people's stories and getting in tune and even like on a more personal level with them. So fast forward, here I am asking Amber Parker to be a guest on a Zoom that I'm hosting. Like it's just a huge pinchable and dream board moment. So I appreciate you taking time out of your family. I know life is crazy. I know you have a million and one things to do. So I appreciate it. And I thank you for taking your time to hop on with us.
It is my pleasure, you guys. I absolutely love seeing so many of you on every single time. Go execute, right? Go have a great night. Go, really stretch those dreams too. And all that comes with change. So find out what category you're going to go study, go be a professional in it, make this a career, not a side hustle. and truly understand that the industry is beautiful and amazing and you can have it all. You truly can have it all. It's going to take work. Be willing to work.
Hey, the work though is the fun part about it, right? Just
So
living
fun.
in that dance and just being embraceful in the fun conversations that we get to have, because those conversations end up changing people's lives, whether it's
Exactly.
health or financial, it's changing their life. And how is that not fun? I mean, it fires me up. So
Yep.
I'm so thankful for you. You guys know I did spoil it earlier for those who hopped on tomorrow. Our KPI Zoom, I will be hosting that for corporate. Super excited. So if you're doing the KPI Wednesday Zoom, jump on with me and let's work. Again, Amber, thank you so much for taking your time.
Welcome. Can we do a boomerang real quick?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, just wave.